Well, hello, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good start to their week. And welcome to the show. I hope you can chill out with us as we go over this great movie. And welcome back, Beard.
Certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for? Not the beard!
Never the beard. Not the beard. Howdy, man.
How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Looking forward to getting into this. This was, say it every week, unsurprising to everybody, a first watch for me. I didn't really know what to think because I know that there's divisive opinions on people who really love this one and some people who just really don't like John Wayne at all. And spoiler, I had a great time. So looking forward to expounding on that as we go through.
People who don't like John Wayne, you can take a long walk off a short pier into shark-filled waters.
Yeah, when I said to people who don't like John Wayne, I could see your spine like straight and Matt, just like, oh, those people.
And Matt's like, and with cement shoes on.
You're gonna sleep with the fishes.
And then we'll fill the whole pond in with cement.
Right.
So we'll write John Wayne's name in big letters in the top.
Yes. And
Jacob takes his love for John Wayne seriously, I guess.
Yeah. So, this is a great movie. I've seen it a couple of times. Although I just realized I'd seen it most of the time. I'd seen it was on like network television when it came on, like in the 90s or even early 2000s or whatever. And then I saw it yesterday. I watched the theatrical version or whatever. And I realized I'd never actually seen the entire thing. I've always missed the very beginning with Maddie with her dad. Like I'd never seen the dad alive. By the time I knew it was coming on and I caught it, he'd already been killed. So in the first like 10 minutes of the movie or whatever. So this time I actually finally got to see that part. So that was good. So yeah, I'm excited to get into this. I think it's a good movie. Is it a perfect movie? Not really, but it has some very good acting, some great parts to it. And I mean, John Wayne won an Oscar off this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And welcome, Bear Grit.
And that's exactly what we would do to you if you don't like the Duke.
I miss those old Saturday mornings of watching Godzilla.
I don't. I watch them all the time. I watched Godzilla at least twice today already. Yeah, by the way, I don't know. There's apparently I'll talk about it on my stream Friday. Apparently, there are these channels on YouTube that are legally streaming tons and tons of Japanese like Godzilla, kaiju movies. Ultraman has a whole channel. The Power Rangers, it's called Super Sentai over there, has a whole channel. Like all these Japanese tokusatsu and sci-fi. I'll talk about it on Friday. I found them like the last 2-3 days. I found these channels. Like, oh, wow, 24-hour streamers. And one has Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Mm.
Oh yeah,
that's a good show. I remember when that was actually like new episodes were coming out.
I watched it. I heard of it.
And welcome back to the show, Cajun Corey.
Of course, you went with Gambit.
Of course, he's the best one.
Of course, yeah. Thank you for having me on, Jacob. You seem to think of this, and I'm like, you know what? I've seen True Grit once, and I wouldn't mind seeing it again. I've seen it once think back in 2010, right when the remake came out, and I was also playing Red Dead Redemption 1, so I was interested in big time westerns. So, and I remember watching the remake, and I heard great things about this one. So I ended up like finding out one more on Blu-ray, bought it on Blu-ray, and I don't know where it's at, but I watched it. And it's a better movie than the remake, and John Wayne killed it. And I'm not downing John Wayne. I'm
Yeah.
just not a big John Wayne fan or anything.
Yeah, that's okay. But yeah, I'm glad you could come on. This is a fun movie. I just really enjoy it. Uh, there are parts where Tim Derby is acting like a 14-year-old that doesn't come across very well. But other than that, I just really like this movie. Plus, it has what's Glenn Campbell in it. If you like Glenn Campbell, I don't
I don't
think
think nobody likes Glenn Campbell.
I want to say, wasn't this like one of his first roles? Like he'd never really done any acting before this. I don't think. And they were apprehensive about hiring him on, but he wound up.
He even says, what was it? He said something like, "I'm not an or it was my first acting career and every first acting job," and what was it? He said something like, "Every time I watch True Grit, that record is still 0." I don't.
Basically saying that he can't. He's saying
So even he didn't
act,
like even he didn't like his acting.
Well, I mean, realistically, John Wayne and the girl Maddie, the girl, they carry this movie. You know what I mean? It's and you weren't here, you chicken when I said this before in pre-chat, but I find why I dislike is the wrong word, but why I'm not a fan of the remake. Okay, so this movie is a book adaptation, as a lot of these westerns are. I don't read a lot of western books. I never got drawn into it, but although I do read a lot of books, but so when they made the new one, they wanted to make a closer adaptation. I respect that entirely. I think it's a well-made movie. I can see why people enjoy it, right? But I think what made this film, and it was lacking in the remake. This is a kind of a dark story. I mean, this girl's father's murdered. There's, it's like when we did El Grande Silencio. The mountains are full of murderers. You know what I mean? Like there's this territory that goes. And at the end, one of the three main characters dies. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a dark kind of story, but there's the right amount of humor to take it from being a dark, like a grim, dark cowboy film, like say Unforgiven was, for example, Clint Eastwood, right? To make it more of an adventure film. You know what I mean? Where so you can it lighten the mood up just enough to make it more like a character-driven adventure film and not a sort of grim, dark cowboy gunning down the guy who killed my dad type of thing. You know what I mean? And the remake, I should say the second adaptation is a better way to say it, I think didn't have the proper humor or enough humor, or it was a darker take on it, if you get what I'm saying. And
more serious take.
Yeah. Well, I don't want. This is a serious take, but it's a different type of film. You know what I mean? It's like comparing, well, I use Clint Eastwood films a better way to think of it, I guess. But if you take Pale Rider or Unforgiven, which are very dark westerns, right? But then he has some lighter westerns too, where which is sort of where he just goes and does stuff. You know what I mean? Even the spaghetti westerns, they're not like really dark. They're more adventurous type of thing. And I think that's the difference between True Grit with John Wayne and the True Grit remake. This is a sort of adventure movie in the West, with a couple dark elements, where the remake was, closer to the book, which had a lot of darker events in it, I guess you would say. As far as I understand, and I think that's why I don't find the remake appealing.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't expecting to plunge straight into a song for the intro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't a
Surprised.
fan of that song. I was like, what is this?
Was
It
it Glenn
didn't-
Campbell sang that song?
Yeah, and that's it. I don't think you hear it any other time in the movie. Maybe
Yeah.
at the end, but it doesn't
No.
appear any other time. So, and it was nominated for an Oscar. I was like, what? It didn't make any sense to me.
You remember, Glenn Campbell was insanely popular. You know, and people forget. You know, as much as we might like rock or metal, or whatever. Country music is still the number one listened to music in the country. You know, and back then even more so. It's like, so
Yeah, but I've never heard a Glenn Campbell song, so
you probably well, depending on what you listen to, obviously, but quite his songs got remade or redone by like rock artists would sing them on their album as covers.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, this
So-
is weird. He carries 2 gold pieces, which each one is about $30. So he's carrying around $60 worth of gold in his pocket. That's crazy.
But they're lucky.
Well,
Yeah.
not only that, but that's a very efficient way to carry a larger sum of cash.
Mhm.
Yeah,
as
but he
opposed
doesn't
to-
use them for spending. They're like there's lucky gold coins.
Well, because they're like an emergency cash fund. You know what I mean?
plus these
Yeah,
are
I guess.
these are wealthy people used to the trappings of wealth. If you know, that's how they're set
Yeah.
up as. You know,
Plus, weren't they gifts from like his wife's grandfather or something, or his grandfather? Anyway, they're like a family heirloom, so they keep passing them
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
So he's rather old, and then in the book and in the movie, Maddie is only supposed to be 14.
Right.
Now, Kim Darby, the actress that plays her, is I believe 21 or 22 by this point.
yeah, I think they use that haircut plus the clothing to make her look younger.
Yeah, the haircut is kind
Yeah.
of bad, but she still looks cute enough in it, I guess. Especially when she wears a little hat. She kind of looks like Little Debbie. She does, the little Debbie from the the
Well, when we
Yeah.
get to that part,
Little
be
Debbie
sure
Candy,
to pause it.
yeah, right.
I do think that it's a really good way that they introduce the fact that this family has so much money, because he just walks in and she pulls out a cash box, gives him $150 like nothing.
And she,
Right.
like she keeps tracks of it all. She's like the accountant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
She's
I,
and then
I wanted to see this.
And I
I'm
think,
sorry.
yeah, I think like
Go
she
ahead.
gets $150 cash too.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
wanted to
money back then.
make sure that pistol is called a horse pistol. It's too heavy to carry on your hip, so they carried it on a holster on that attached to the horn of the saddle, and
Right,
you can,
yeah.
if you can kind of see it right here, he's got it in that holster on the saddle.
His old
Can I
gun that
see
he used
right
in the
here?
war.
right, yeah, because
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
right
cavalry pistol. It's technically it's a dragoon pistol. And
Right.
it was black powder, and you had to, but it was so big, bore, and the barrel was so long. Yeah, it wouldn't. I suppose you could carry it on your hip if you wanted to, but it would be like in the way. It'd be like carrying a sword almost. So
No,
you
it
wanna-
definitely would be a lot for her to handle.
Well, I'm talking about just for
Oh,
him,
yeah,
like
definitely.
he's
Yeah.
got it in a holster on his horse. One other thing about this movie is that it was mostly shot, like these scenes are shot in California, but most of the other, like they're in the wilderness, are shot up in Colorado, and the city where they, which is supposed to be Fort Smith or whatever it's called, that's in Colorado too. But technically, where the story takes place in the book is Arkansas into Oklahoma.
Mm.
Right.
Interesting.
And right, which is why Maddie does not respect Texans at all, and neither does Rooster.
Yeah,
And,
I wasn't really appreciating all the anti-Texas propaganda spouting from Rooster's mouth.
Yes, right.
It is not
Well,
okay. It's not as common in our lifetimes, but state
I know, I get
rivalries used to be huge. You know,
Plus-
I mean,
plus
New
this is
York
not
and New
that long
Jersey,
after
for
the
example,
war.
had huge. You know,
yeah, look at Michigan and Ohio. They
Yeah,
literally almost went to war over a piece of strip of land between the two states.
and it's not like regular to college football now. So, but Texas doing the SEC, I'm good with the anti-Texas talk. Horns down,
Mm-mm.
go Tigers.
So this guy's just trying to like actually help this dude out.
Yeah,
We all know that guy at the bar, except usually we don't get shot over it.
Well, he's his boss, and he gave him apparently this guy showed up at their farm, was kind of starving, didn't have a job, so their father gave him a little place to live. I mean, it's like a shack or whatever, and gave him a job, and so he traveled with him, and so he shoots him, and then he steals all his money and takes his horse, and disappears into the Indian country, which
yeah.
is in Oklahoma, and because it was Indian territory, local law enforcement has no jurisdiction there.
Right.
Only federal
Well,
Right.
so it was a very which is why the whole the show Bass Reeves during that time, it was a haven for outlaws because there was not a lot of people going in there.
so historically, and we even saw this in El Grande Silencio. The at the time this takes place, those Western states had either just formed or were still forming, and even those that were states, there were no state police that had any real reach yet. So your federal marshals, your traveling federal judges, and your U.S. cavalry basically
Right.
were your sort of like outside the town law enforcement. You know,
By this point, Oklahoma was still a territory. Same with Arizona. Arizona didn't become a state till 1912.
yeah.
So yeah.
You can only. I love this sign. Closed, gone to hanging.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of bustle and hustle when they get into this town, and it's because there's going to be a public hanging, which
Exacts.
we see maybe as barbaric these days, but back then, when you didn't have television or anything like that, this was the way that you could show their consequences for breaking the law.
Maybe we need to bring that back in some cases.
Yeah.
Well, some of it was also a matter of proof because a lot of times when they would execute someone in private, sometimes they would behind the scenes buy their way out of it. So by executing a person in public, it was proof to the public that justice was done.
Okay, I just want to say something when the scene with Jacob stopped where she's at the window. Yeah, she looks like little Debbie.
Yeah, that's what
see
I'm
it
saying.
now.
That's what I'm saying with the hat and everything. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You get the right thing, and it's little Debbie.
Yeah.
But look at them all, and there's kids selling peanuts and stuff. And
It's like a cross between a baseball game and a church service because they're singing hymns
right. Yeah.
before they execute them.
It's like the big event in town.
Like in medieval times, the executioner would travel from town to town with the judge, basically. It's like,
Yeah,
how do you execute them in this town? Beheading or hanging or
The only real person that was in this, or the rest are fictional characters, but the only person that was based on the real person was Judge Parker, and he was known to be a hanging judge, meaning he gave out harsh sentences.
I'm pretty sure most of these judges out there were hanging judges because these
Probably.
how lawless. I mean, it's how I hate to say it this way, but how murderous these people were, and like criminals getting away with it because they just ride into the hills and there was no one to stop them. I mean, it's a trope of Western that they would ride in town, shoot some people, rob them up, and ride out. But that's what they did literally because there was the sheriff. There was a sheriff and a deputy at most, maybe two in a town, and they couldn't afford to go right out to the hills.
You know how easy it must have been to get away with stuff back then? If you were willing to travel, all you had to do was go into town, do something, and then you could travel pretty far away and just change your name. And if you're good at it, no one would ever know who you were, where you came from, any of that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Well, that's why the FBI was formed. I mean, for all the modern criticisms of it, it was they wanted to crack down on criminals doing that sort of thing, kidnapping and bank robberies and kidnapping, basically, which is what the big crimes like that were. You'd ride in with 10 guys down and kidnap some rich dude's kid or rob the bank or whatever, drive to the hills, and then you could do about it. So the FBI, back in the day, they cracked down on that sort of crime and made it, compared to most of the countries, actually hard to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate this little
Yeah,
bit right
the
here where the
middle
guy
guy here,
tries to do the
the
right
guy in the
thing.
middle.
And oh, sorry, go ahead.
This guy in the middle is the same actor that plays Tonto
Oh, really?
in yeah.
In the TV show,
Uh-huh.
that was a good Lone Ranger TV show. I used to watch it when I was a kid. I think I have.
What were you saying, Beard?
No, I was about to say that I like how the guy with her tries to do the right thing and cover her eyes right before they get hung or hanged.
Oh
sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
and she,
Yeah.
I want to see it. Yeah.
And there, I think there is something to that, especially if you're, because she's like on this revenge kick. So I think it's like today, like anybody that carries a weapon should know what death looks like. If that is a little bit dark, but I think everybody should be exposed to that at some point in their life. I mean, we all will eventually with relatives as they just get older. But
I don't mean to be morbid about this, but I'm wondering if that hanging platform was just for the purpose of a display because they didn't drop very far, and the short drop was more of a strangling thing, or if you tried to do the neck break with the short drop, you had to be perfect with it. You know what I mean? And so one of those just like they just because when you look at the historic hanging platforms back then, they were like 10, 15, 20 feet in the air. Like
Well, they would weigh them beforehand because there's a formula that you use. It's weight with the height and the length of the rope. So the rope for each person would be a different length, and but it would be high enough to where they could all drop. So the platform would be the same, but their rope would be different based on how much they weighed. They already knew the formula by this point in history too.
Yeah, but I'm saying for the purpose of the show of the movie.
Oh yeah, they just build this thing and just
yeah.
drop them.
Like go watch the movie Hang 'Em High, and that platform I think is 20 feet in the air. It's like
Yeah. Are you trying to pop their head off? I mean, I'm just saying.
And that would happen if you dropped them far enough and
Yeah.
miscalculated.
Yeah.
The head would rip off.
Yee.
So
all right, Boosh.
Yeah, along with the circuit judge, the hangman had to travel too to hang people.
right, because it was you just couldn't not anyone can do it legally. You had to be assigned that job, right? Certified, basically, yes, to do a correct one.
Well, like I said, in medieval Europe, there was actually a TV show that ran for like 8 episodes or whatever. Like the traveling executioner or whatever would go from town to town and basically do the executions. So that's a profession, you know what I mean? Or what,
Yeah.
Even in England, there's a movie called Pierpoint about the guy that has the world record for hangings, and he had most of the criminals in the Nuremberg trials, for example, as well. And like his father was a hangman before him, his grandpa was a hangman before him. It was like a family business. And he was like the last hangman of Britain.
So, so this guy is works for the family, but I'm not really sure what his status is. I mean, obviously he's a free man, but maybe he wasn't beforehand. But anyway, so he does exactly what she says to do. Her mother told that guy to watch out for her, but then she tells him to go back home and take the father back with him and stuff, and he just does it.
Well, maybe he's an employee.
Well, he is an employee, but
and like, I mean, she can give him orders too. So that's what I'm thinking.
I guess, but
he's probably like a ranch hand or the head ranch hand, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is that he's not very, you know what I mean? He does exactly what she says. So he's like a 50-year-old dude taking orders from a 14-year-old.
Well, hey, you pay the bill. I mean, he probably works for that family for his entire life.
This is where the sheriff tells her that the guy ran off into the Indian territory, right? And this is why he can't do anything about it. So then she asks, who are the marshals? And he lists them off. So she's very smart here in how she asks questions, and she doesn't take no for an answer.
Well, she's also very observant and everything. Like when
Right.
she finds out that the judge is a hanging judge, she's like, "Oh, that judge doesn't take nothing. Like, I want to bring him back here, like so that because she knows that he's going to get hanged."
And she's also quite a bit of a Karen too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She's very manipulative.
Right.
Now, okay, just to clarify one thing for the listening audience, okay, even if he was sentenced to death by that judge, if there was a warrant for him in Texas, because that's a federal judge, he would have still been tried either there for the crime in Texas or sent to Texas for the trial before they would have executed him.
If he didn't have an accident on the way there.
Well, yeah, I mean, but she wanted him hung. She didn't want. She was just making a point. She wanted him captured and hung. She didn't want him. Because Russo would have just killed him. You know, Russo was like, let's kill him. He's a very practical guy.
She wanted him to go to trial and get justice and
Right.
and get the hanging as his part of his conviction.
Like-
His
We're not up.
Right.
We're not up to that scene yet where Russo smokes the dudes out of the house. But if you watch Lawman Bass Reeves when he was learning from his when he was apprentice lawman, and the dude set the house on fire so he could get the guy out and shoot them. But then again, you have to have I mean, could you imagine you're like one marshal and you have to take in how many dudes constantly? So if you don't have that reputation as a stone cold killer, like a Rooster, when Rooster brought all those guys in alive like that, that's all because they know Rooster would kill them if they didn't go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now they're not all going to be hung. I mean, probably those are the ones who know they'll just get like 10 years or whatever. But I mean, just can you imagine these guys? I don't think the life expectancy of U.S. Marshals and whatnot was very high back then.
I would imagine not.
Mm.
What's interesting about that previous scene is that the sheriff gives her father's gun in a bag, just puts it in it, and she carries that thing with her like everywhere she goes from then on.
Yeah, you can see right here in the
Yeah,
back
in almost
strap,
every
he has
scene,
it.
she's just holding the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and I looked it up. That I know they said it was a dragoon. It's but the actual one that they're using in there is very similar. It's a Colt Walker, like an 1847, I think. Yeah, and that thing weighs nearly 5 pounds unloaded, and it's nearly 16 inches long. So somebody of small stature that doesn't have a lot of experience holding a firearm, that would take a little bit of effort. Yeah.
Can you imagine telling us actually you got to carry this thing around for the entire film, like every scene.
At least it won't kick much.
That's probably why it's in a bag because it's too heavy. But they just carry the bag around.
Yeah.
Also,
in a bag, it's completely unassuming. Nobody expects her to have a gun.
Yeah.
But they expect her to be
Also,
carrying stuff in a bag.
just for clarification, this movie takes place in 1880.
Okay.
So, yeah. So Civil War's been over for 15 years at least.
That's the year Roman turned 50, right?
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Right. Pretty close.
Yeah.
I love how everybody's just dogging this woman about her chicken and dumplings.
Yeah.
I can pay 25 cents for a bunch of grease and bread.
She's trying to be nice too about it, but the other ones are just like regular.
Yeah.
Her eyes trying to looking for the chicken.
This is where you see that Maddie isn't afraid to talk to older people, like, talking about like for 25
Bluntly
cents.
too.
Yeah, for 25 cents I should get a little bit more than this, and so she's very like money wise and doesn't put up with a lot of crap. Yeah, here's Glenn Campbell.
Yeah, she would, if she had a Twitter, she would be judging people on Twitter.
Now see here, look, she's looking at him, right? Because in one sense, she's like, who is this guy? He is kind of handsome, but once he starts talking and she finds out he's a Texan, it kind of, she's very sharp with him.
I don't know why,
that Oklahoma-Texas divide was pretty big.
Jacob, you just said judging Twitter, and I just thought of Whitey, and that shot there can remind me of him for
That's what
some
I was
reason.
referring to.
Can you imagine what they would talk about if they had Twitter back then?
Oh my god. What had to hurt your odds looking for the chicken?
That's what this guy is saying, making a joke about the meat not being in the chicken and dumplings.
And he asked what her name was, and she's like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, he's like, so what's your name, little darling? And she's like, talks to the lady. She's like, I want to go to bed now. So basically, she ignores him and goes upstairs.
And then he does guess her name too. At this part here, when she looks back, but she don't respond to him, and just keeps going.
And these guys down here, they're just shoveling that food in their face the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, and then this is when she's like, oh, he's quite handsome, isn't he? He's from Texas.
Like, he needs a bath and a shave.
Yeah.
Shaving's
From Texas.
overrated.
Yeah, no, I ain't shaved clean shaved in years either.
She has
Oil.
to
Yeah, well,
share the bed.
I would say yes, Jay, because her father's rich. She always gets what she wants from him. You know,
But she's not wrong in this movie. You know what I mean?
right?
Everything she wants is. I agree with what she wanted. You know what I'm saying? I don't disagree.
Exactly.
With
It's not a
Yeah.
bratty unreasonableness of what she's trying to get.
Yeah.
Especially when
She's-
she's like, you have to double up with this old lady in the bedroom, and she's like, "Well, you're gonna charge me half price, right? Since I'm sharing a room."
Yeah, I get the feeling she does more business dealings on the family ranch than we get told in
Yeah.
the movie.
Yeah,
Like, she's
wonder-
way sharp, especially when it comes to money and contracts and agreements and such.
yeah.
You got to remember that back then, for some people, by the time they were 14, they'd already stopped their schooling. They went
Oh,
as
yeah.
far as they could go in their local area, in their one-room schoolhouse, and all they needed to do now was farm or whatever it was. They were going to be a blacksmith or whatever, and they had enough math and English and writing and stuff to live. You know, they didn't need to go to any higher learning than that to do whatever it was they were going to do.
Yep. I don't know why this is a little detail in here, but I like it when he's just like, I'll have a peppermint.
Yeah, I always remember this part, especially when I was at work and I didn't know it at the time, but I kind of had an ulcer starting. And I used to remember this part and be like, maybe I need to have a peppermint to settle my stomach. Yeah, and that guy, all these guys are wearing the Colonel Sanders ties.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Rooster is an interesting character in that it's obvious that he'll just kill people instead of trying to bring them in, unless they blatantly surrender.
Well, I think he'll
Basically,
give him that one shot to surrender, and then he'll just kill him.
yeah. He gives him a chance to surrender. If not, he's going to shoot him.
But I don't think he goes after dudes who just stole some money or whatever. I think Richard goes after the worst of the worst. You know?
Yeah.
I think
It's kind of like the mentality of somebody who's tired of living. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, in his mind, he's okay if he doesn't make it back.
Yeah.
like more like the worst of the worst. He's willing to kill.
Yeah.
I love this. I love this scene.
Give me a reason.
Oh, this is great dialogue.
Yeah.
He's
And
like,
Wayne just sells it so
give
much.
me a reason to shoot you.
Yeah, he's like, so you say you were backing away from the thing. What direction were you going? And he's like, well, I go backwards when I go backwards.
Yeah.
Like I said, he shot him to just ring him so he would be able to pay up. It reminds me of the beginning of Justified, talking about the shooting. Like, I shot him. And that's pretty kind of like what he gets here. Like, he ran shot him.
Justified was a throwback to these really good westerns. The regular, not now the one scene extension.
Yeah, City Crime will never happened.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned.
Yeah, I hate to admit this, but I haven't seen that show yet.
Down.
So,
Wait,
Yeah,
what's
it's on
OG?
Justified.
OG?
I like this. How many people have you shot? Shot or killed? Well, that's restricted to killed, so we may have a manageable figure.
Yeah.
This is such good dialogue.
She's like 12 to 15.
I like how also it adds that it's also including stopping men in flight, so they were actually running away.
Yeah, right.
Well, okay.
I mean,
If you are a fugitive of a certain type, either especially back then or even now, like if you're an escaped fugitive now, the federal marshal are allowed to shoot you on sight. They didn't, once you're an escaped criminal.
Mm.
I'm not just finding murdering people left and right, but I want people to understand. Like this isn't like like some dude robbed a candy store and he get gunned down by the U.S. Marshal.
And actually,
wow,
just talk about him being a marshal in like 4 years too. Not before that, how many people he killed.
Yeah.
I gather before that he was a military man,
Hmm.
a career military.
But even after his military career,
Yeah.
he's killed 23 men in 4 years. That's a lot of men.
Back in the day, those might be rookie numbers.
yeah, bump those numbers up, rookie.
I mean, I can see shooting somebody running away back then, where they were. I mean, if they got away, that they're gone.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You
So
had no backup. You weren't calling in a helicopter to chase them down
Right.
Yeah.
or anything. Yep.
You
No
weren't
cell
shooting
phone
on the
cameras
ledge
or all
to slow
that.
'em down.
One kill every 2 months. That's not even a habit. Got a point, Jay.
He's got to
Now,
keep his gun well oiled,
what's interesting
I
about
love this.
Rooster's
I
character,
always
though,
try to be ready.
is later in the film when Maddie's talking to him, you find out that even though he's been a marshal for 4 years, previous to that, he wasn't a very law-abiding man
Nope.
Hmm.
at all.
And that's what I was talking about earlier. After his military career, he, did do criminal things too. Like I mean, many
Well,
killed then.
I also think that the unit that he rode with, and the same one that Glenn Campbell's characters was with, because obviously Glenn Campbell's character was on the Confederate side because he was from Texas. Most likely, not everybody that lived in Texas was not, didn't or fought for the Confederacy, but he did in
I mean,
this. And
John Wayne fought for the Confederacy too, though.
did he?
He rode with Quantrell, and he was Southern.
Okay, so, but what I'm saying is those units were both like irregular units, if I recall right. Correct? They were like doing
Yeah,
like
Also-
raids
something like
and
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After the Civil War ended, there was like a sort of Wild West period in the South where soldiers of the Confederacy who basically, okay, so to put this in perspective, when Grant and Sherman took over the Northern Offensive, and you might have heard about Sherman's March to the Sea, they adopted a total war campaign. They were the first modern generals. They basically burnt and destroyed everything in their path, right? So these Southern soldiers, and I'm not just sometimes had no homes to go back to. Their homes were crushed out. Their properties were seized or whatever. In the process of Sherman's March to the Sea and Grant's meeting up with him, and so that gave time to a sort of like almost a lawless period. A lot of these soldiers, what became sort of bandits, it's a kind of I guess you would say, even in a modern world in third world countries, that still happens in war situations, But it's not something we like the U.S. or Europe tend to experience anymore with wars because we have like professional militaries and all that. You know what I mean? And we clean up after the wars we start usually. But back then, man, it's and war. If war is bad now, it was 10 times worse back then.
But that from that is where you get outlaws like Jesse James. They were former soldiers that turned to crime because, I mean, they had the skills to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Had no incentive not to.
I like this. Backward. I always go backward when I'm backing away.
Judge's like, don't mess with the council. It's like, well, it doesn't make any sense.
Like he says, his hand was smoldering in the fire. He's like, well, there were some hogs. They might have pushed him around.
Hey, prove that hogs didn't do it. You'd need a forensic team to do that. They didn't have that back then, so
Yeah.
Them hogs, they was rooting around.
it could have happened.
Hogs are a menace.
Mm-hmm.
And then they might
They
actually
might
start
have been
eating
chewing
you.
on the body.
Pigs
Yep.
will eat you. If you stand still in a pig pen long enough, they'll start eating you.
Yeah, that reminds me of the show Deadwood, what to do with dead bodies, throw in a pig pen to feed them, get rid of the bodies.
What you
Or
do?
if you see Justified, what's his face, the criminal,
Limehouse.
Limehouse, yeah.
Well, that's what you do
So-
in Red Dead Redemption 2. If
Yeah.
you kill somebody in the saloon, you just take them out back and dump them in the pig pen, and they're gone by morning.
Yeah.
So there's no need to go back, but I just noticed on that last frame we had looking over Rooster's shoulder when they're going back and forth is that what's her face? Maddie is directly in the center between the two. I didn't realize that. That's really good framing.
Yeah.
And she's also lighter colored than everybody else in what she's wearing. So she stands out.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this. He's like, cutting his one good eye at him. Like,
And then he goes out and just like to the big pile of guns. Oh no, those were the days.
And you just pile them on the desk, and yeah,
Yeah, you find one, pick it up, and go back.
Although she broke the
she still
rules because she brought
she
hers
still
in.
had her gun.
Well, nobody
Yeah.
knows there's a gun in there, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
right.
It's so
Concealed
unassuming.
weapon. Do you have a permit for that concealed weapon?
Yeah, I don't think that was a thing back then.
Yeah, I know. I was just,
This paper says I can do what I want.
Right.
Exactly.
yes.
Well, there's this thing called a Second Amendment. Okay.
One thing about Rooster's eye patch is that it's actually made out of gauze, so he can see through it.
Right.
That makes sense for this
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
'Cause-
It also
Interesting.
didn't damage a real patch would also damage your eye or weaken it if worn long
makes
enough.
sense. And so that way he's able to act normal and all that. So
Also, I like in this scene that she knows how to roll a cigarette because she's probably did it for her father. Or
Yeah.
she's 14 in 1880. She was probably smoking them herself
Yeah.
out behind the barn.
There is a funny scene in the new one where he's in the outhouse. And she comes up to the outhouse and knocks on the outhouse. He's like, "How did you hunt me here?"
I know the scene you're talking
That was
about.
funny.
Talking a little business.
I didn't
She
really
rolls
care
in
for
cigarette.
Josh Brolin in the new one as Ned.
I ain't seen a new one in
Yeah.
a while, actually. I
Yeah,
only seen it once.
he was actually he wasn't Ned. He was the guy that killed her father.
Oh, right, that guy.
You see?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Barry
see?
Pepper plays Ned. I
As
remember that.
Cheney, Brolin is
Cheney.
Cheney. Yeah.
Tom Cheney.
Hey, I don't know. I just, for some reason, I like this guy in this movie better. He's more Weasley, I guess.
Yeah.
She said he has 480 acres of good bottom land. That's
Yeah,
that's a lot of
pretty
land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then telling her mom's back home taking care of watching the other kids, and he pretty much trying to convince her to go back home. And
Now, hold it there, Jacob. I don't know if like that style of house with the way they did the stonework there and the wood over it, you can still find houses like that today. Now, I don't know if that's just because that's a modern house they were just using it because it looked old, or because that style was in use back then. But I mean, literally, like you could go on with before they tore them all down to build these two-story duplexes. Houses like that were fairly common on the streets I grew up on. You know.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind they filmed this in Colorado, and if you go up there even now, there's a lot of homes that are from that era,
Yeah.
1800s, 1900, or late 1800s.
Well, I'm just talking. I don't know if that style of house was in use back then and just kept building it, or if they said, "Oh, this is an old-looking house. We'll use that for the scene."
Oh no, they had
Yeah.
these style houses back then.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Roman. He was alive back then.
Yeah.
I went to Durango,
Well, so was my mom.
Colorado, and took like a little tour of like the old houses, and a lot of them look like this, and they were built in the same era. Like the hotel I stayed in was built in 1880. So, yeah, I don't know about back east if they tore all these down, but I mean, you can find stuff back east going all the way to like the 17th century, that style. But
Here he is pulling
I
a
like
gun
this
out.
shot.
And it's like, talking about how big that
I'm
gun
sure
is.
you'll get him if you can find something to rest it on. That is a great shot right there. So she's like, "I'll pay you $50 and to what was it? She
And
wants
10
to pay
cents a
him
mile.
25 now,
right,
and then 25 when they leave, and then 50 when they get back."
right,
And
then
that's no joke that she's just throwing that number around, because I just looked up a quick inflation calculator and it only went back to 1913, and $50 in 1913 was more than $1,000.
oh
So
yeah,
she's just
yeah,
walking
yeah.
around throwing out these
Oh
big
yeah,
numbers
yeah.
around
That's
town. That's asking for trouble.
yeah, that's big money back then.
But see, so the $100 and the 50 and 25, where I find it where she's going to get into financial problems is 10 cents a mile.
Yeah.
Is what she said. I'd say like a penny a mile or something, because you don't know how far you're going to have to go, and they're traveling days on end. And I remember one point he says it's 60 miles to the next.
She's probably thinking she can get most of it right up front, and then if anything she needs else, otherwise she can get from home.
I think he mentioned later on, like they have travel like 15 miles in a day, then stop for the night.
Right. Yep. So that's going to really add to the but then he says, I don't think you can get $50. And she's like, well, I still have some horse trading to do. And but then he wants to take her home so he can give her supper and they can talk more about it.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet your family. He's like, oh, all right.
Oh yeah, Boosh. 480 acres with all the stuff that goes with it. Yeah, they're rolling in dough.
Father Chin Lee,
Father
nephew
Chin.
General Sterling Price.
Can't you see the family resemblance there?
Yeah.
It's like that The Jerk, that movie where he finds out he's not black. I'm not Chinese. What?
Yeah, that was funny.
And his nephew, the cat.
Fun fact: General Sterling Price is an actual Confederate general.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And she's fascinated by chopsticks. He's like, it's better than your fingers, and just points it out. It's like, in defiance, like slops up every last little bit off his plate with his bread.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, she's never met someone from Asia either, too. So
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember that the Transcontinental Railroad. I mean, by this point, it had been long finished, but in the 1860s and the end of it into 1870s, there was a huge amount of Chinese immigration, to the point where in the 1890s, they basically Congress passed a law to make it illegal. Like they cut off all Chinese immigration, except for some very rare cases. But because so many were coming over to work on the railroad, it got to the point that there were so many Chinese in the West that you could go into some of these saloons and you could get Chinese food.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah,
There's
they
a
were
great
prolific.
TV show called Warrior, which takes place on California during. It's a kung fu TV show, but it sort of highlights the politics of the time. Between all the ethnic conflict and takes place in the 1880s. It was one of the projects Bruce Lee made up before he died, and they finally turned it. There were 3 seasons of it so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so even today, you can go to the smallest little town in Texas or anywhere out west, and it'll have two things: a Sonic and a Chinese restaurant of some kind.
Right.
Hmm.
Exactly. Will, Mr. Rat.
I love this. It's also such like a clever dig at her trying to tell a rat to scat. It's like, it's a rat. It's not going to listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I was saying before.
Bam.
So they alleviate the darkness of the film. This guy is like an inveterate drunk to deal with all the mental crap he's been through by having the humor bit with the rat so you can see him with the drinking and the tension, but they so it's there, but it doesn't become like a grim dark western.
I love that. Outside is place for shooting. I'm
I'm
serving some
serving
papers.
And throws out. She grabs a dead rat, throws outside. Cat runs outside. This is your job.
Yeah, and the cat grabs it, and she's like, "That was your job anyway." Yeah,
And it also shows the drinking doesn't impair his aim either.
Yeah. I like that
Can't
line.
serve papers
It's
on
because
a rat.
it's a double meaning, obviously. So that's him saying like some of the people he goes after, they don't care
Right.
that he has papers.
you
He
can't.
has to do that.
Right, exactly. You
Mhm.
can't serve papers on a rat. Yep. So
Yeah, you
sometimes
got
you gotta
criminals that
shoot.
didn't care.
Exactly.
I mean, they kind of alluded to that earlier when he was in court, and
Right there.
he would always have his gun out because he says, "I like to be prepared." Well, if somebody comes up to me with their gun already out, I'm not drawing mine on them. That's asking for it. So anybody that does draw on somebody who already has a firearm out, they're willing to do anything. So
Yeah.
they're a rat. They don't.
Well,
they
also,
want certain papers.
I think once you're in that Indian territory, if you see anybody approaching you, you always need to be wary because it could be an outlaw or somebody like that.
Yeah.
because regular people aren't usually going to be messing around in there.
Right.
And two, there are just regular people who just are like in the middle. They don't really take a side. They'll sell supplies to criminals and law enforcement going after them.
U.S. government. Sorry, I had something there in my throat.
Yeah, it gets in your throat. It's easy to get in your throat. That thing. I
Yeah,
love those rats. He just keeps going on and on about rats.
Yeah, he's talking about lawyers at that point.
Yeah. And he calls the judge a carpetbagger too.
Yep. He's
Yeah,
like, yeah, he's a carpetbagger, but
He
we
knows
gotta
the
go with
rats.
it.
Yeah, he had a good working relationship till the lawyers came in.
Well, I want to say by 1880, the whole Reconstruction thing was pretty much over, right?
Yeah. I don't know how long that lasted.
Sorry, I was in the kitchen. So yes and no, it was kind of over. So what happened is after obviously Lincoln was shot and Grant became president, and then Grant did his terms, right? After he was out of office, the I'm trying to it's 100 years ago. So I can get political. The Democrats at the time, being Democrats, wanted to get their political power back in the South. So they started to this is when the Jim Crow era started. They started to make all sorts of deals with the Republicans and Democrats around the country. Say, sure, you can let us have our power back. We'll follow the rules. Meanwhile, they started the Ku Klux Klan and all that. So the Reconstruction was supposed to continue and keep things like lawful and organized. Basically got corrupted and co-opted by the Southern Democrats as they stormed back into power in the 1880s.
He shot and killed a senator's bird dog, and then killed the senator.
You don't mess with Texas man's dog.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's where we find out that he had been on the run and was basically hiding out at their farm.
Right.
And also why he knew her name, because he's been following this guy and keeping up on news, so he would have known about the murder.
Like this part.
Yeah, he wants to take him back to Texas for the senator killing while she wants some
Wants him
Fort
to hang.
Smith to be hanged.
Right. And he's like, I was thinking about stealing a kiss from you, even though you are ugly.
Oh, and I find this tied into something that we were talking about kind of a few weeks ago. So you were talking about guys who, have your gun ready because guys would shoot you or whatever back, So remember a few weeks ago, I said there was a great Charles Bronson kind of Western movie that took place in like Alaska. It's called Death Hunt. And there was a dude in there, like there was a mystery in the background of someone just randomly killing people, stealing their stuff and taking their gold fillings, right? So, and that's the type of guy that you got to watch out for in this country where you didn't know why they would kill you. Like you smile and show your gold fill, and you put a slug in you and take your teeth. And that's the type of like craziness that was going on in the Wallace West.
This is
This
where she
whole
puts her
scene.
superpowers of business smarts and being annoying
This
to work. Like
this guy,
combines both of those.
this actor, he's a great character actor. This guy was great in the role too.
He taught people how to swim in the Navy during World War II.
Who's this guy?
Yep.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Clint Eastwood. Nah, he did.
Okay.
Clint Eastwood did that in the 50s. My bad. That's what he did in the Army. He was a swim instructor.
Hmm.
It's like, those ponies are all geldings. We wanted to breed them.
Yeah, that hardly concerns me.
Now, I almost got the impression that if her father bought these ponies as geldings, but they were for breeding, is maybe he's kind of a bad businessman.
I kind of thought that too.
And then
But this
she's
is also
Yeah.
one that's like actually holding the whole thing together.
I kind of get the feeling that he was more farming, not so much ranching with livestock, because this was like he wanted to get into horse breeding, so it's not something he had done before. So maybe he was trying to branch out and just didn't know you needed to look for certain bits to be there on the horses.
No, but see, he's an auctioneer. So I got the idea that her father got scammed.
Right. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like those weren't really the horses he bought.
Right.
Oh, and
They were,
spoiler, I absolutely thought that Lawyer Daggett was somebody she just made up and was just using to scare people.
Yeah.
The entire film, I thought that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and the dude who played Lawyer Daggett, he was he was in 12 Angry Men, the juror with the glasses, one of the jerk jurors, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Look at that big old safe that he's got.
Yeah, I'm calling bull on that set design right there because there's no way that safe door closes with that desk in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's a nitpick. I don't really care. I still had fun.
This is a really good scene of how she and him interact and talk. This is probably one of my favorite scenes with her in the whole movie. Like, this part is where her character really impressed me, and I was like, all right, this is a great character. You start to see her, and throughout the movie, she's a strong character. She's brave, and she doesn't give up, and she doesn't need to beat up 300-pound dudes to do it.
Yeah, and it's also where we get the more kind of an indication that she does business on the family farm.
Right.
Because she's not only good at this negotiating, she's already written up the contract for what she wanted.
Right.
You know, and you talk about her dad, maybe she's the more educated one than her dad.
Mhm.
That's why he doesn't know the business stuff.
That's possible, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't think about that.
Right. And he's
I
like,
thought
you
of that.
already had that written out. You came in here.
Yeah, and if you think about it, it's a complicated transaction because it's not only selling back the horses that her father was scamming and buying, but also paying for the fact that he was in charge of the stables where her father's horse was kept and then stolen.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's good.
He was going to write her a check, and she's like, I prefer cash.
And she didn't give it until she got the cash in her hand.
Right. Yeah.
And then she baited him into telling her that he still has a tentative offer at a price. So she's like, again, she's observant. She just takes that, files it away. Is like, I can use that later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like, and I would not be surprised if he was a relative of yours.
And he has to do what she says because she's rich enough that she can sabotage his business. You know?
Mhm.
I mean, she got that fancy lawyer.
Well, the lawyer dad, it's just the icing on the cake, you know?
Sleep
Mr.
very drunk
Cowboy,
last
sleep
night.
late.
Yeah, I know that. I wasn't
Been
drunk.
there.
I wasn't drunk last weekend, but went out a little late, a little drinking. I know the feeling.
She makes
That
fun
is
of his bed.
That's a mood right there where he just barely can cough out the word coffee.
And then she's got the gun in the bag. She's just carrying that thing everywhere she goes. And
Mhm.
then she makes fun of him for the bed that he's in.
Yes, because it's basically just ropes tied on a frame.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, you need some
Yeah,
slats
see, you
in that
need more
bed.
slats in that
Well,
bed
Trouble is, there is no slats in the bed.
at all. He's like, it's some kind of Chinese torture device or something.
I went to a summer camp where the bunks were about as sturdy as that.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as he complains about it, I get the impression he's been living out of this back room for quite a while.
Yeah, he's used to it.
I don't know if you guys caught it, but he sleeps next to his gun right on the wall behind him.
Oh, that's just smart.
Yeah, that and goes back to the beginning
He's smarter
to her
than
dad.
Scully.
Just grab the gun off the coat hanger.
Remember Scully that keeps her gun across the room.
Not a smart move.
No.
That's a look.
And she calls him out too. He's like, all I've heard is talk, and I'm not paying for talk.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens with Maddie is she gradually earns his respect over the course of the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like parallels with The Last of Us a little bit with Joel and Ellie. How she starts out as just a burden, and by the end, he's going.
He cares for her.
Right. He's going through all these things to help her, which is parallels this. Then she gets this horse, and she says it's got 4 white feet, if I'm not mistaken, which means, and she has this little saying, 1 white foot, buy it, and 2 white foot,
Try it.
and 4 white feet passing by. But she's like, but I'm going to give you a chance. She calls him Little Blackie, which, yeah.
This is great. Walk right back into balls to do this.
And then he's like, I just received word that a young girl fell down a 50-foot well. I was hoping it was you.
I will pay the market price. That was the market price at that time. You said you have a buyer for 10. I half get the feeling that he just went ahead and went with it so that she would leave town and leave.
Yeah, he was ready to get rid of her.
Probably figured she'd be dead.
Well, plus it would also mean that Rooster Cogburn was going to be leaving town too, and he obviously doesn't have a very high opinion of him either. 2 pains in the butt gone.
Yeah, like I said, both the scenes
wrong-headed.
with her and this guy are really good. They're some of the best in the movie, in my opinion. I mean, it was these interactions that really made me like her character a lot.
She's like, I'll pay $12, and I want it shown. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Sorry.
Shod.
Yeah. Shod. That's right.
Yeah, she's like yeah.
And he's like, fine, just get out of here.
Right. Yeah, she's like, I won't ride a barefoot pony or something like that.
Yeah.
Or, shoeless horse. So she comes back to Rooster, and now this guy is talking to him.
Yeah, the way this movie is written, it almost feels like this first part it almost feels very different from the last little bit of the film. Because this is all very dialogue heavy. It's all before we get to the adventure. And once you get to the adventure, you still have really good dialogue, but it's not very often as much quick back and forth, kind of like what we have so much here in town.
Right. And she's a little more in her element here.
Right.
Dealing with like in-town stuff and legal things and whatever.
Yeah.
He's all on her side until he mentions the $500. Is she paying $500? Sorry, Beard. What were we saying?
No. I was just agreeing with Shieldwall. It's like, yeah, that's a good point. Jay, you're saying something about a singing scene. Did I miss the singing scene? Did I have a stroke? I don't remember a singing scene.
Singing scene. Is he talking about the scene where he's drunk singing?
I don't know. He mentioned it earlier, and I thought he was talking like it would like full musical number or something like that. But I'm pretty certain I was still conscious for the entirety of the movie, so I don't think I missed anything that big. Yeah. So they both want to get him. He's got to go back to Texas. She doesn't want him to because she wants to go to the judge that she knows is probably going to hang him, give proper justice. But Texas is offering a lot more money.
It balances out to like $2,000 between both rewards.
Yeah. I mean, considering, like I said, $50 was the equivalent of like probably $2,000 now. That's a hefty chunk of change.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I see, Jay. The mere presence of Glenn Campbell causes singing in your ears.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this is the first time she's really kind of feeling outsmarted in the wheeling and dealing.
Yeah. I mean,
But she does have a point.
hundred
She
hundred
says,
dollars compared to what, $2,000?
Yeah.
but she has cash in hand. This other thing is just a
Right.
what if right now.
Hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and she already paid him, and he's like, "Oh, I already spent it." She gets real mad at him for that.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't think Rooster's planning on bringing him back alive.
Who's Lawyer Daggett?
And I like how they build up to him. Like you think he's fake or whatever, but they keep dropping it and dropping it, and when he shows up, it's like he pays off.
Like what they say later is like she pulls his name out like he would a gun.
Yeah, yeah. She's like, yeah, she pulls his name out like it's a pistol. So she already beat him here.
Yep. Can they just absolutely throw her under the bus? She's a runaway. There's a $50 reward.
Yeah, but this next part is where she really proves her mettle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She draws him like a gun.
uh,
So, all right, let me just fix my hat across your face.
And she's wearing those I can't remember what kind of pants they're called, but they're like a skirt with pant legs that look like a skirt.
Yeah, it's like a long skirt that's split in the middle, so that has like
right.
Yeah.
There's no side saddle riding going on here.
And
Then she just barrels it through the water, and it's cold out. That water is cold, and you can see
the horse's breath and steam coming off of him.
Yep, when it comes up the other side. So whoever did this, whatever stunt person.
That's like the first time that a rooster's like actually impressed with her. It's like when he says, "By God, she reminds me of me."
Yeah.
Imagine the director was like, "Let's have 10 horses and 10 stuntmen ready for this scene, just in case."
You
No,
can tell
away.
right here that is a man.
Yeah.
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 Oh, there's no way I would expect that actress to do that stunt.
Oh no.
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 Oh no.
But if she could have, they would have had her do it. Remember, this is the era when they did not care about the lives of these people at all.
Oh no! Later on, you see Glenn Campbell legitimately take the rifle of the Duke's gun to his face when he turns around and just smacks him.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, let's see if she can keep up.
Real fast.
And after she crossed the river, they still try to ditch her.
But what does she say? They can't get away. They're weighed down with fat men and lead or whatever.
And iron, yeah, and heavy iron.
Yeah.
Yep.
He gives her.
Then he pulls her off the horse. How hurt she could have got just from that.
Yeah.
Just pulling her off her horse like that and falling on the ground. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. She could have broke her
right
hip.
on the shoulder.
Yeah, look at that big rock that's next to it, right? And then he gets this switch out and just starts spanking her with it.
The rooster calls him out. Stop that now. Why? Look, you're starting to enjoy it too much.
Yeah.
Texas brush popper.
And what I like, well, I don't like, this is what was weird to me. She just pops up and all of a sudden she's all bubbly and she's like, hey, I got an idea. Let me give you the plan. He just pulled her off her horse, damn near broke her hip, and then spank the crap out of her with a thing. You know,
She's
I mean,
a
I
super
get the
optimist.
pants are made out of corduroy and all, but
She's one of those characters that's a super optimist, like kind of like
Yeah.
Naruto. They'd never stop being cheerful.
Or like
Yeah.
Lucy in the first half of the Fallout show.
Yeah.
It's always okay.
but this is the first time you really see her smile like this. Every other time she's very in the moment, intellectual, kind of almost dour, like very mission oriented. And but maybe it was like a thing she was trying to do to kind of offset him, I guess. Also, you can
Yeah.
tell by this landscape, this is very human activity. Look at all the lines cut in there for where they logged all these trees and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is a beautiful shot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is.
Here we go. We talked about this before.
And there's no way that this is Oklahoma or Arkansas.
No.
They have a really nice meal here.
Mhm.
Goes up there time to time to pay attention to a lewd woman.
So this is like they have 60 miles to ride, and they're gonna cut it up in like 15-mile day, or ride 15 miles a day.
Depending on the terrain, that's still not a necessarily easy thing.
No.
And that's why I was
But-
talking about earlier. You talk about traveling 15 miles that day, then take a break, and
Yeah, 'cause,
Now-
I mean, a lot of people, especially today, if you don't work with animals, they think, well, you got a horse, you can just keep going. You can't run your horse ragged, as we see
No.
later on,
well,
and you're just stranded.
you gotta take care of them, feed them, give them water.
Depending on the terrain and if you have a road or not, 15 miles can be not that big a deal, especially if you're riding a horse, or it can be a very long day,
Yeah.
depending on what the terrain is like and everything. Look at this place. This is why I really thought it was Colorado. Is there's so much of these what are these aspen trees
Aspen.
that are up here? Yeah, along the water. And but yeah, again, very beautiful shots. The lighting is really good. The quality of the
Like
I meant to look
he's
up
offered
what
her
a
a
corn dodger is.
corn dodger is, and he said, "How many you got in there?" And I was expecting him to say something like, like a dozen or whatever, like just enough for him for the trip. He didn't plan for her, but no, he's a guy that's just used to being out wherever, forever, how long? So he's got 175.
Well, also, I was thinking if you take a prisoner or a couple of prisoners, you do kind of need to feed them,
Yeah,
So that would be something they get.
but apparently these are it's similar in like ingredients to like hardtack, but it's much softer. But it's cornmeal, pork fat, salt, and water. So very long shelf life. You could just carry them in a bag and didn't have to worry about them going bad.
So basically, like hardtack, like they'd have on a ship or something.
Yeah, just not
that
as
kind of
hard.
breaded stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they were meant to keep for like a decade, like the other stuff did.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't necessarily
I
need to
love
have
these.
coffee or tea on hand to dunk them in order to use them.
Right.
I love these little back and forth things. He's like,
Mhm.
I've drank out of a filthy hoof print before.
He's like, I hear one more Texan tell me they drank out of a filthy hoof print.
Uh,
How long you boys been mounted on sheep? I love that.
yeah, because he's making fun of the Texans for riding smaller horses.
Yeah.
Always got down Texas.
So he's pointing to little Blackie there. I almost don't say it because somebody's gonna pull that out of context and like get pissed off. He's like pointing to her horse because they were the little ones that like her dad was talking about earlier, that it's good because they can do this, that, and the other. And I didn't realize how much foreshadowing that was. Is when he's saying that one over there will still be running, and that's the horse they end up relying on at the end of the film.
Right.
Like, it's like a small fire is a ranger's policy, and Rooster just throws more wood on the fire.
At some point here, Rooster also makes fun of his gun, right? I don't know if we missed that or if I'm jumping the gun, so to speak.
It's after he shoots the turkey.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, and so they get at the whiskey out, and she's like, "Hey, here's another thing where she gets all like excited. She's like, I got an idea. I'll do this like little thing, and I'll tell a story, and then you'll play the parts. But you have to not drink whiskey if you want to sell it." And they're like, "Yeah, whatever."
That's no trade.
Yeah.
So I just looked up Glenn Campbell. He was born in Arkansas, so he probably rather enjoyed them going up on Texas for this entire movie.
Yeah.
All right, that's right. Shoots the turkey.
And he obliterates it. So I looked at that gun. That's a 45-70 caliber rifle.
Yeah.
Or carbine.
It's no joke. Just aim for. You gotta aim for the head. Just aim. Wait till it sticks its head up and shoot its head off. But I can just imagine what that did to the meat on that bird.
It turned it into ground turkey.
You're right.
That gun does to a turkey what some people think a 308 does to a deer.
The gun might have implied enough heat on turkey to cook it.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty chewed up. Okay, he leans over to her and just says, "Too much gun."
We can eat your turkey there. Sorry. She's like, I don't see how it's pretty chewed up. Too much good.
It's well, situationally, there's such thing as too much gun.
Yes.
But what do I know? I'm siding with the Texan here, so. Man, the scenery here. Yeah.
This is one of the best scenes in the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's very clever. He just immediately has a plan.
Yeah.
We probably did it before.
Looking at this movie, I have a feeling that like the people that made the Red Dead Redemption game just like looked at this and then was like, "All right, this is what we're gonna do for some of the areas in the game."
I love the negotiating tactics with the guys choking on smoke.
Yeah. I've got 5 marshals. If you don't come out of there, we'll pour a bucket of coal oil down that chimney next.
Yeah, you're right about him probably doing that with the chimney before. He definitely seems like somebody who just like bluffs his way through every encounter if he can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See whatever he has to say. Oh, yeah, he's got the boot knife. I forgot they was there.
Sure you did.
And we were talking about this before stream. One of the guys here, Moon, is actually Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him. I saw his name in the credits and still didn't recognize him.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, when
pretty
I
young.
heard the name Moon, they're like, "Oh, that's him." And I think he kind of, because when I know him from, he's a lot older from Speed and all that, but you can tell it's him.
Well, didn't he do Easy Rider this same year?
I don't know. Maybe.
Let me look it up here.
69.
Because this movie's 69. Yeah, Easy Rider's 69.
Nice.
And it's got Peter Fonda, Dennis Hopper, and Jack Nicholson in it.
I don't think he's lying too much right here. I think he's being very practical with look, if we don't do something about that leg right away, you're going to lose it. And if you lose it, you might die.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
If you live, I'll get you 3 years. Or 4. I like what he says. He's like, "You're trying to get at me," and Rooster's like, "And it's working."
And she is out of her element, but she is smart enough to pick up on the fact that there were more horses than just for these two dudes here.
Yeah.
Also, that was a legit knife throw when he sticks that knife in that table. I have to think that there's not many studios around the world these days, well, at least in the US, that would let that actually happen on set. It would be a CG knife.
Mm.
I mean, because it is a pretty basic thing, but if that blade doesn't hit just right, it bounces off in whatever direction it wants.
Oh, but stuck in Dennis Hopper. Get a new actor.
I love her introduction is always, "I'm Maddie Ross of near Darnell in Yell County." It's all her name.
I brings up the lawyer, of course.
Hopping around a log peg.
Too young to be hopping on a peg leg. Loves to dance too much.
Jay says, "Just be happy she hadn't added lawyer Daggett to her overly long name." You're right. I gotta have a doctor, bless. I got some booze in me. I ain't thinking clearly. I didn't see this coming. Oh,
There go with the hay fingers.
By the way, this movie's rated G, by the way.
It was the 60s. This
Oh
is
yeah, I know. It's very tame compared to
good fun for the whole family.
yeah.
help! I'm dying. He's like, "You're already dead, man." That's it. What it is.
And pretty much saying where Ned is going and that they coming there tonight.
Mm-hmm. He's his brother is a circuit rider out of Austin, Texas. He wants his stuff sent to him.
Yeah, and Rooster's thinking, "Oh, another Texan."
Yeah. Howdy, Copa.
Hey, go.
Yo, Copa.
Yeah, I thought this was a good touch. When they give him the cup of water, he reaches up, and he doesn't have any fingers to grab it with.
Yeah. All right. Tidy up. We got to
And
get
they
rid of these
find
guys.
they find the gold piece. Oh, it's $36 gold piece.
Mm. Copa, I take the OG.
Yeah, me too. Original.
Yeah.
I don't think we should put up a poll because if anybody votes for the newer one, that's just going to give Matt a list of names so he can hunt them down.
Yes.
They don't show who votes for him.
We'll find out. That man's savvy.
I have a special set of skills.
See, yep. Told you.
See, Copa would do it just to troll you. I can see him doing that.
Yes.
Yeah, they're making a plan to where to hide out for when they show up.
I'll shoot the last man through the door, and we'll have them over a barrel.
I mean, it's not a bad plan. Get everybody inside, then
Yeah.
let them know you mean business.
Right, because you can just cover the door and shoot anybody that comes out afterwards.
Mm-hmm. There's no back door either.
Because it's
Yep.
not like a regular house. There's not a back door. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's built into the
Well-
side of the rock.
Right, exactly. Yep. So you could, I mean, maybe you could dig out one of the sides or something, but
And it's like, I don't know, that's like windows are big enough to climb out or anything.
Yeah.
Of course,
Only windows I noticed were in the front. I don't know,
yeah.
but yeah.
He wants to shoot them before they go in, but Rooster's like, well, if you do that, they're gonna scramble.
Yeah. So Texas man's supposed to wait until the first shot, not be trigger happy.
Right.
She still wants to get in on this, so she's getting her revolver for like a 100-yard shot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice scene.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
And then they switch to a studio.
Yeah. It's like, why do you keep the chamber empty? So I don't shoot my foot off.
Yeah, I think that's something he says to her, like, you shoot your foot off, because she's on a handle gun.
Mm-hmm. Jay, that Walker probably still hit at 100 yards, but you'd be using naval ballistic charge. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, that's where Rooster goes into his background, backstory. And obviously, talk about he robbed people and all that.
Yeah, he robbed a federal paymaster.
right. This is where I was talking about that he literally robbed somebody and then he robbed a bank in New Mexico.
Yep.
And then he just decided to settle down, but apparently wasn't very good at it.
Yeah. She gets also for stealing and being a thief. So I didn't think it was stealing.
Yeah. She's absolutely just soaking this up. She's like, oh, I'm finally making a connection.
Yeah.
It's like there was a boy. He never liked me though.
Dear child, you'll never see.
I didn't consider it stealing. She's like, it's still stealing. It's like, that's the same position those New Mexicans took up. I had to flee for my life.
He does have a very interesting way of viewing the world.
Yeah. I mean, he thinks he didn't do anything wrong in that case.
Yeah, the Navy Sixes were also another gun they carried on, or a cavalryman carried on the horse holster on their saddle.
Yeah, I like that line. They must have all been married men who love their families because they turned around and ran. Which is an interesting thing, especially seeing how not only did he just talk about how when he was kind of a worse human, he just charged in like he didn't care about his life, but what we end up seeing him do that again later on. Because he doesn't feel like he has any attachments. If he doesn't really feel that if he dies, anybody will care.
Well, I don't think I think he's like, how do I put it? It's not that he doesn't care about his life. He just doesn't value it a lot. Like, in other words, like, he'll go in and charge all those four guys like later, like you were saying, because he's like, if I die, I die. Then there's nothing that like there's nothing. In other words, he's doing what he wants to do, and not worried about dying.
Yeah. I just want to say I've stepped out on a hard ground in a tent before camping. It's not comfortable. I don't know how they were able to do it back in the day.
Well, they had True Grit back in the day.
That was rough.
Good point.
And that is how you work the title in.
Yeah, not like Maddie said it a bunch of times.
I'm looking for a man with true grit.
Yeah,
He's
the
got
only
grit,
time I
they
slept
say.
on the ground, there was roots all in my back, like Sam.
Let's just say when I get back home, I lay down in bed. It was very comfortable.
Yes.
I was sore.
I had never wanted to go camping ever.
And there's Robert Duvall
That's fun.
as Ned.
It's fun.
A couple times that I went camping, we just had like little, like literally military pup tents, and the ground was pretty flat and it was just grassy. And then another time when I was younger, we found these flat rocks and we just slept on that. We were able to, because the tent was big enough, we could just put it over the whole thing, and it was like big flat shales, I guess. There was like a shell pit there, and we just slept on the shells. And I mean, it was hard, but it was smooth, so it didn't have like bumps or anything.
Yeah, I didn't have that luxury. But yeah, so this is because they ride up, they know something's not right.
Yeah, because they didn't plan on there being a signal that they whistled out once they showed up.
The original Mexican Bob.
Oh, I heard a shot going in.
Leroy Jenkins. No, sorry.
And so what I think Ned shot up in the air, and then Texas Rangers Thought that was Rooster and started shooting.
Yeah, even if he wasn't sleeping, he didn't have eyes on. He wasn't paying much attention.
Yeah.
He still got a few
Tell
good
your
shots off.
story.
Yeah, 2 got killed. Yeah, that kid there kind of sacrificed himself for Ned.
It got left behind.
Mm-hmm. Ned didn't look back or anything, just kept riding. Look what Jay said.
He just
He
pulled a
was
guitar
singing
out from behind a rock.
He's a singing cowboy. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a point. This guy, Rooster's been out here plenty of times. He knows the land. He knows the people.
Hey, Sassy.
Hey there, Sassy. Yeah, like this. To make John Wayne look taller, they made Glenn Campbell ride a pony.
Well, I mean, they say Rooster is a big dude too, so
Yeah. So this is where they go over Rooster
talk about
rode with Quantrell and
during the war.
yeah, and right. I think I've looked this up before. Uh, he fought, LeBee fought with Kirby Smith, so I think that's a real guy. I think.
Yeah, they're real people.
Mm. Yeah, and the ranger here's talking trash about his captain there, and Rooster don't take too kindly to it,
Yeah.
which I kind of get.
Which I guess that could go along with what Shieldwall was saying earlier about, certain groups being irregulars and not necessarily playing by all the rules.
Yeah, and also reputation might be exactly not be exactly what they were doing, but may picked up a reputation for it, and yeah.
Yeah. What does he say here? Bury these three? Are they dead? Why else would I want you to bury them?
Oh, he kind of tells her to go inside, and he's like, "Now I'm going with you." And why don't you go inside then? Get some dinner or something.
That reminded me of the scene in El Grande Silencio where he's like, "Don't bury them, leave them in the ice."
Yeah.
Yeah, let it get
I like this
it. Step behind you.
Oh, because I'm Indian.
I've seen plenty of Indian scalps on Indian belts.
Yeah.
It's what Texas call a peace officer. I think we might have skipped over it. I don't know if we pointed it out. I can't remember if the black mark on that guy's face is from a pistol going off too close and like powder got embedded in his skin.
Right.
Yeah, I think we.
Yeah.
I don't think we talked about it. That's his distinguished mark that they can find him. No, earlier when Ranger met her at the hotel, showed a picture from the or, for the killing of the senator. She mentioned he didn't have the black mark on the face at the time, but it was him.
Yeah. Okay.
I like this part. You don't wash before you eat? I'm not going to eat his hand.
It's a great line. Don't you know about germs? No.
Oh yeah, he's kind of like cuts on his hand, and she's like, "Oh, let me do it." He's like, "Don't worry about it," and she wraps it up, and Rooster makes comments about it.
It's like, oh, it's Hayes. First time he's ever stayed shot. That's some nice saddle work on that on there. Got a pretty saddle.
All right. Dang.
He
Sorry if those
tries to
sirens
chew
came
out of
through.
the- Oh, I didn't hear anything.
I didn't hear none.
Okay. All right. I had to peek out the window. There's a car in the flooded ditch out there. Didn't hear that happen. Anyway, continue.
Uh-oh. And he's trying to get the money for all the traps and everything. And she's like, but he went. And he's like, I don't remember where it was. Are you sure it was Austin? Was it
Oh
Dallas?
yeah, you knew.
This too. Yeah, this is the famous horse killer from El Paso.
And he's still trying to get rid of her.
She won't go away.
Well, I get the feeling this is also kind of like the last refuge of like the tiniest little dot of civilization that they're going to have access to between where they are now and where they're going to need to go to get these guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Plus, now that they've gone to ground, like the other guy said earlier, take 50 marshals to get them out of there. So he knows it's a well defended place and they're going to put up a fight. So it makes sense he doesn't want to bring her into it,
Yeah.
especially if since he's kind of opened up and is starting to care a little bit more about her. It's less I want you gone because you're annoying, and more I don't want you to get hurt.
Yeah, and kind of like what Shieldwall said earlier about kind of similar to The Last of Us with Joe and Ellie there. You know, the longer you spend time with her, you grow attached to them.
General Sterling, the cat, probably scratched his eye out.
Oh yeah, don't even remind me of that.
Oh God.
Yep, what Jay said. The script's clearly written by men
Yep.
who know how men test each other as a way to build camaraderie.
Yeah.
Instead of you're toxic, it's toxic.
Oh yeah, like this person drunk falls off. She's like, "Yeah, we're gonna camp here tonight." He plays it off like this is where I wanted to stay.
Blames the
Like
horse.
Resides kid.
Oh, the horse stepped wrong.
Yeah.
I always wondered what they're drinking there. It's like
Maybe
tea
real
or
real
something.
whiskey.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, you could just do water with caramel food coloring in it. It would taste
Yeah.
terrible, but you got to be careful what you put in it because liquor doesn't really bubble up when you shake it, and like tea does. So you can't really get away with that if you're going to
Yeah,
be
that's
jostled around on a horse.
Yep.
It's always either whiskey or coffee. Coffee to recover from the whiskey, and whiskey to come down from the coffee.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, his wife took over things, and I wasn't about to work for her.
Mm. Don't want to get a divorce.
He says, "Man would never work for him. What about the money I paid you?"
Like, what money? Yeah, he doesn't remember. Of course, he's completely drunk.
Yeah. Because despite what he said that he doesn't buy booze, he confiscates it. We all know that's where that $25 went.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I noticed. He's talking about going and hitting Ned tomorrow, and he goes to take another drink and realizes that's probably not a good idea, and just like puts the cap back on the bottle and puts it away.
I wonder if the fire. I wonder if they did see the smoke, and that's why they were that close.
Good point. Possible.
That is interesting. Yeah, that would bring back the call to having too large of a fire from earlier. And they are close because, as one of them said, if we're as close to Ned as you say we are, you shouldn't go alone.
Yeah, and also, I mean, he Texas Ranger make a little sweet on her, but
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
at the same time, he does want to save too, and then she falls down the hill, and look who it is.
Well, look here.
There he is.
I forget his first name. What I think it's his last name. I like it. I like his last name. His real name. I think his name is Jeff Corey.
I looked him up on IMDb. He was acting up until his death, and he died in 2002, I think.
Wow.
The bookkeeper.
Little Maddie, the bookkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I like how when she pulls the cutout, he tells her basically what to do with it. It's like, no, that ain't gonna work.
Yeah, he
Pull the
didn't.
handle back
He
all the way
expect her to shoot either. Oh yeah, she tried to light us like 50 officers up there.
That thing's no joke. That's, if I remember right, that's a 44 long Colt.
The thing that got me about this is that Cheney tells her exactly how to use it. Are you going to need to cock it? He's like, all the way.
Yeah.
I think he didn't think that she was going to shoot it. Also, maybe he didn't think it was loaded.
Well, I'm not sure she actually did shoot, because later on she talks about there being a misfire. In later on, it's like
it was the second shot, I think.
Was it the second one? Okay.
Yeah.
Did talk about Lister loaded it for her or something, or
yeah,
yeah, she says it misfired because you loaded it wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, technically, Jay, based on the wording they used, if it is that pistol, it would be a 44 caliber with percussion, but it is actually a different gun that they used in the film. So I was referencing that.
She's like, I know how to do it.
Immediately, I didn't think you'd do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's fine. He's like telling her like
where exactly does she hit him?
Apparently
he wings him in the side. It doesn't actually
breaks his rib on the right side.
I don't think it actually penetrated. It like grazed him. There's no way that bullet went into him. He'd be half his body be blown off.
Yeah.
And grazed and broke his rib.
This is probably what
he
caused
says.
the misfire. I mean, it's down in all that dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's percussion, if you treat it like that, the caps will fall off.
Yeah.
The little nipples. So that's also why when you shot it, you were trained to pull it up before you shot it again, so that the expended cap would come out of there. Because if you kept it level, it had a possibility of falling. When you pulled it up to cock it, you'd bring it up and get the if you could, you get the barrel to point straight up. When you cocked it again to rotate, so that if the cap fell out, it would clear the chamber. Otherwise, if you held it, straight forward,
Level.
if a cap fell off, it could get into that mechanism and they wouldn't be able to rotate the cylinder.
Everything happens to me and I'm shot by a child.
Get the feeling that guy thinks nothing ever in his life was ever his fault.
Yeah.
Ned Pepper and original Mexican Bob. Sounds like
Apparently,
that was funny because there's a newer Mexican Bob, but he's not as good as the original.
You talking about for the new movie?
No. In this movie, there's two people calling themselves Mexican Bob, or they got that nickname, but there's a newer, younger one, but he's not as good as the old one who's riding with these guys. It's just something they say in the movie.
Yeah. If you're gonna lie, don't lie to the point that it's not believable. There's 10 marshals over there.
Is Robert Duvall ever not good in anything?
I can't.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right there. He takes that gun barrel straight to the face.
Yeah. Bam. Ouch. That hurts.
Negotiate. I'll let you go. Just let her go. Okay, give me the other guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there she go. It is. Maddie Ross. Darnell.
She's like, why am I being treated like this? Because these are bad guys.
You don't care who you are.
I like this part. She's like, I saw you got shot. It's like, I heal from the inside.
That's why the original is the best.
Yeah. And then this dude.
Oh, the dude making the chicken noises.
Yeah.
His entire thing is like
Simple-minded.
is being crazy and getting shot. His entire character. It's like, it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, he does a good job with it. It's like basically his entire, he says, the entire family is touched, but Harold's the worst. Makes me think there may have been some intermingling amongst the family.
Well, it's the South back in the old days.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we totally skipped over whatever he was describing the Robert Duvall's character. He's like, I shot him in the lower lip. What were you aiming for? His upper lip. It's little lines like that I love so much.
Yeah, these two boys, the two brothers are, I don't know, they're a little inbred, I think.
Yeah. So I forget, why did they leave him behind again after they get the signal that Brewster's leaving?
Because he lost his horse.
Oh, okay. I was just confused because I thought I saw them taking an empty horse behind them. But I guess that might have been for supplies or something. Or maybe it just wasn't his and they said, you can't have this one, and left him anyway.
Yeah, like this. Most girls like pretty little play patties, pretties. But you like guns, don't you?
Yeah.
She's like,
But
if I
did it
could
have
one
have
that
one that worked.
I gather her father is the one raising her as the heir, so she's being raised like a son.
Well,
Yeah.
there is a son.
Is
He
there?
tells him he tells him in beginning, all right,
At the very
you
beginning.
take care of your mom now.
Mhm.
But he's raising her to be a really good companion for somebody, like a wife that's going to manage somebody's estate while they're out doing other stuff. But he's setting her up to be married into a high status family with those abilities. Definitely.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, it is potential that if she never marries, which I wouldn't see why she wouldn't, but she could help run the family farm. Plus, she's only 14, so she's got a few more years before she get married, like 1 or 2 for back then. But
maybe 6 months. Who knows?
yeah, or up to 6 years. But anyway, but it can never hurt to educate your child that much, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he sees Rooster right now. She thinks he's doesn't have grit. He's a coward or something.
It's like, nope. Bye.
Hmm.
Yeah, and he knows, oh, they just left me here. They're not coming back.
Yeah, and he's not exactly in condition to set out on foot.
Fun fact. If you get poison, like a snake bite or something, the kind of poison it is, it breaks down the tissue. If you stick the part that's bit in boiling water, it'll help to draw the poison out. And you can get to a doctor faster. Or you have more time to get to a doctor.
I don't know if I have the
if your
fortitude to do
snake
that.
bit- so if you're snake bit and you have boiling water, you have a choice to make.
I don't know if I could make that choice.
So he tells her there's snakes down there and he'll throw her in it. What? I don't get this. Why antagonize this guy? But she like purposefully antagonizes him.
I don't know. This it could be trying to be smart to throw him off his game, but it could also just be the fact that she's a kid. Like, and thinks she's been abandoned, is having to think on her feet and just can't rely on anybody else at this moment. So she's just kind of panicked.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and trying to just think something up her head.
Everything's against me.
Yeah, look at the size of that boar. Ooh.
I mean, it's just 45, but the 70 is the part where it gets you. It's got a lot of powder behind that 45.
Yeah. And the best part in the whole movie, right here.
Like how he gives the other guys, he's like, my beef's not with you. Just take off.
And I could not do this show without playing this scene. It might I hope it doesn't get me a have any problems.
I mean to kill you in 1 minute, Ned. Or see you hanged in Fort Smith at Judge Parker's convenience. Which'll it be?
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Fill your hand, you son of a bitch!
That is an awesome moment.
Yeah.
By the way, a stuntman did most of this scene, and this shot right here, he's riding on a trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's movie magic.
At least it was semi-realistic, and it's actually, but it's hard to actually hit people when they're riding very fast. You know.
Yeah. And when you're on the back of a horse yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
What does he say to his horse? Like the only
Well, Rooster, I'm shot to pieces.
Shot to pieces. You got a little ketchup on your shirt, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's a lethal shot there, he should be dead.
Yeah.
But you know.
A plot convenience right now.
Or maybe Rooster just poisons his bullets, and that's how they really die.
Hooray for the man from Texas.
Yeah, he gets the good shot.
Oh yeah, first time you ever give me reason to cuss you. Oof. I mean, that's kind of sad because I could get the feel that he's had that horse for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw an argument that Brewster also overpacked the powder, which is why it had extra boom and knocked her off her feet.
Oh, I think even a normally loaded gun of that size would have knocked her back, or at least flew out of her hands or whatever.
I mean, especially if that was the misfire. If you're not expecting it, that'll make anybody jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed the other skeleton in here that looks like she's not the first female that they threatened to toss down there.
Or the first person to fall down there.
Probably how they dispose of their victims, you know? Toss them down Rattlesnake Cave.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Yeah, I hate snakes.
Now, people, if you're actually in that situation, you don't want to poke the snake.
Yeah, I was thinking the same
It's very
thing.
happy to
watching
just
it.
lay there and sleep, basically, until it's hungry.
I was thinking the same thing when she took that brush there, just started hitting him. Like, are you wanting to get bit? Because
Even when he starts
in defense.
Yeah, even when he starts shooting at it, I'm just like, that's a bad idea. I've seen videos of people who shoot a snake, and it doesn't necessarily just give up right away. It doesn't take it out of the fight.
But yeah, her hitting the snake was a bad idea.
Oh yeah.
I think
yeah.
it kind of hurt
Ain't
her
dead
being
yet, you.
14 years old, not knowing any better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, if you ever find yourself in that situation, don't poke it.
Now,
Oh, she really told Peace, and he's like, forget it.
Yeah.
I admit I was disappointed when LaBouffe died. You know?
Yeah. I mean, the way is like Rooster talked about it, is he was always dead. Like he was a dead man walking. He's dead and didn't know it.
Yeah.
He falls off, and Rooster goes over there because he, despite the back and forth, he doesn't care for it to do help them.
Yeah.
He could have had a brain hemorrhage, or he passed out and the fall to the ground killed him.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Imagine like a post-op, like a part 2 or whatever, where they write up there and like the coroner's like, well, he would have lived. They didn't break his neck on the falling off the horse. You know? It's like,
Yeah. I know what he's doing here. He's like cutting near the bite and putting like a pulse. It looks like it might have been like chewed up tobacco on there to try to pull something out. I mean, the reality is it's been in the veins long enough. It's traveled so far in. That's not going to do a whole lot, but you do what you do.
Yeah. I think in the remake, that same character is talked about that you're going to lose. She would lose her arm because of that.
Yeah, in the remake, she does. Her arm is, when they show later, her arm has been amputated at the elbow or something.
Yeah. She's like, aren't we going to bury him? It's like, if we don't go now, you're going to be as dead as him.
Here's the thing. Like, so I'm not a snake herpologist or whatever, herpetologist, whatever. But I do know that like at least for rattlesnakes in North America, only like one or two in four actually inject something in their bites or something more than a minuscule amount. So if it doesn't all go into your vein, like if it's in your muscle, it'll hurt, but it won't necessarily kill you.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking when I saw this, it had to be in the muscle, a tiny amount. Otherwise, because like a full-on blood injection from a big rattler would most likely kill her if it had been that long of time to get back there. Especially back then. Did they have antivenom back then? I don't even know.
I don't think so.
Not really. Yeah.
Back then, I don't believe so.
Yeah. So, kind of like alluded to earlier, that little bitty horse carried both of them as far as he could. And I don't know exactly what it was, but I think they tried to make it look like he had like foam running down his neck, like as he was running, because that's what it looked like on the horse. If they did it intentionally, that's a nice touch.
Yeah, it is.
You still see the horse move after they abandoned it.
Yeah.
Granted, I mean, it's a movie back in the days.
I mean, they'll kill a rat and a turkey for these movies, but they won't kill a horse, probably. At least not until after the camera stopped rolling and they realized it broke a leg.
Yeah. Yeah, but nobody kills by rats and turkey's dinner.
All right, throw those guns in the river.
The very first anti-venom was developed actually for cows in 1895 because they were getting bit a lot. And it was for some kind of like a snake in Europe or something.
Man, he is hauling in that wagon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was thinking of that. I was like, hey, you got to really trust those wheels. I know in Red Dead Redemption, if you drive a wagon all crazy like that, eventually those wheels will come off of it.
Drive it till
What
the
are you
wheels
gonna
come off.
do?
Uh,
What are you gonna do for the Venom partners? We're just gonna have her drink a bottle of gin. She should be okay.
yep. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
dilute it with alcohol.
Well, also that arm was broken too, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
this
there it
is
is.
very,
This
That's a
is payoff.
bar.
Man, the myth, the legend, the attorney.
There's the payoff.
Yeah, this actor also did the voice of Piglet in Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Lawyer J. Noble Daggett. Well, you're not exactly what I thought you'd be. You're a shrunken man.
Now, it would have been even funny if like the other Mexican Bob was like out there somewhere too. You know.
He's like, all right, I'm here to pay up.
Yeah, so she's ill.
Well, yes, she did have a receipt. Again, like when it comes to business dealings, she's thinking of everything.
She's very well prepared.
Now, even though he looks like him, he is not the guy in the Twilight Zone episode with the nuclear bomb goes off and he's alive with the books, but his glasses get broken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is not the same guy, but he looks just like him. You know who else he looks like? In Star Trek, the episode where they encounter Jack the Ripper, who was an energy alien.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he looks like the lawman from that planet.
So
Now I gotta look
I,
this guy up and see if that's him.
I really like this little touch here where, you know, he's talking about she wants him to escort her home, but she doesn't really know how sick she is. He just kind of chuckles, hands all the money, like flashes all the money he was just giving, go, I'll bet you all of this that she
Nope.
makes it home.
It is not him either. That was in a lot, though. He was the mailman in the Munsters. He was like multiple chaos agents in Get Smart. Oh, wow. No, I was right. It is him. Oh, my God. The Star Trek episode. It is him.
I get the feeling she spent quite a while in waiting to heal up before she could come home, because that's a weather change right there.
Wolf in the Fold.
Okay.
Yeah.
This kind of bothers me. It's wintertime. And she has fresh flowers. Where do you get fresh flowers in winter?
She's a greenhouse. She's rich.
You could have been a florist in town.
Oh, that's it.
Maybe they're made of paper. Who knows?
So she wants Rooster to be buried beside her.
Probably greenhouse.
Yeah, and I don't take that so much as like it's important to her that he's there, but it's important to her that he has somebody close to family to be with.
Yeah, I think they were kind of trying to establish that they had bonded and given Rooster a sense of peace finally. They could have a sort of family member type person. So
Yeah.
like he would come back periodically to visit them or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I don't remember in Rooster Cogburn if he ever did. I know there was a TV movie sequel, which I don't know if I ever saw it or not. So, but
No, and she makes fun of the fact that he's not riding a tall horse. He's riding one of those sheeps, like you said earlier.
Yeah, Jay, you're right. It was Burgess Meredith. Yeah, it's a Twilight Zone episode. But I was surprised it was the dude from Wolf in the Fold. I was surprised.
This is a nice little touch.
Come see a fat old man sometime.
And then jumps the
Uh-oh,
four.
what
Oh,
happened there?
the video, of course, as soon as we get to the finale.
The
I don't know. I actually
raccoons.
watched that. It was like a 30-post fence, not a 4. But, it's okay.
Yeah, that's the end, people. That's it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He rides off by jumping the 4-post fence because he was told that horse could jump a 4-post fence. That's when she said, I think you're a little too old and fat for that.
And he's like,
He's
"Oh
like,
yeah,
yeah.
watch this.
What? Hold my beer."
I'll hold my whiskey and watch this."
Yes. Yeah, so fun movie.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed it.
Well,
Yep.
I find it hard to rate a movie, but why don't we go around? Beard, what would you rate it?
Don't normally think of ratings. I'd give it a 7. Most of it is really good. There's a couple weak points. At least one of the castings is an interesting choice. But it was definitely better than I think I went into it expecting it to be. I don't know why. Just something in my brain said like, I don't know if I'm really gonna like this, but I'm gonna watch it anyway. And I mean, still with your picks, I'm constantly surprised how much I legitimately enjoy them. So I'd say probably a solid 7. Maybe more on a repeated viewing, but we'll have to see.
All right. Shieldwall.
8 easily for me. 8 out of 10. I think it's a good movie. Definitely recommend it for people to watch if you haven't seen it before. Again, like I said, Kim Darby she's my favorite character in it. I mean, John Wayne did a great job, Rooster Cogburn, but I like her character. I like it. I think the true grit of character in this movie is really her. With the drive that she shows, she doesn't give up. She doesn't take no for an answer. She doesn't take anybody's crap. But she's not, super awesome. I'm going to punch out a 300-pound dude either, which is what we would have got if it was made today. You know what I mean? So
She has her strengths. She knows what they are. And she
Right.
plays to them.
exactly.
Yeah,
And she's surprisingly strong for somebody that's her age and stature, and everything. So, and a lot of the other side characters are really good too. So yeah. Also, where the scenery where it's shot is just absolutely beautiful. Just
Yeah,
spend
it
a
is.
week up there at a cabin or something would be great. So yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
that's 8 out of 10. Recommend.
Matt, what about you?
This is one of my 5 favorite John Wayne movies. I could always quibble over which the exact 5. The Quiet Man, this, Sons of Iwo Jima, Sons of Katie Elder, which the same director also did, by the way. And again, you can always quibble over which particular 5 John Wayne films. I'm not crazy saying them, but this is usually one of them. So I really like it a lot. It has a right balance of, not too. I'm not a big comedy person in general. I'm not a big Western person. I mean, I like Westerns. Don't get me wrong, but I won't sit there and watch the Western Channel all day like some people will. And
I would.
I love John Wayne. Well, there's a lot. When I was younger, I watched him a lot because of the family. And I love a lot of the actors, the supporting actors, and especially all these old movies have great supporting actors. Nowadays, like every supporting actor is some dude who works at Walmart. It's like crazy. It's like,
Yeah.
So like a 9, Objectively, yes, it's not a 9 or 9.5 out of 10. I understand that. Okay, I enjoy this movie a lot, however, so I'd probably give it a whole other point over what it is. And it's hard to pick apart. Like I could quibble over little things here and there, like but it's hard to pick apart. So it's not a perfect movie where they account for almost everything you could nitpick, but and I find myself not wanting to pick it apart because I enjoyed it so much.
Right.
And I did look up the series so Wayne, obviously Rooster Cogburn is John Wayne playing the same character, sequel to this, right? The TV movie sequel had obviously different actors playing Rooster Cogburn and all that, but the girl does come back. It's a different actress, and she needs his help again, and she actively tries to reform him more in the TV movie. I've never seen it. I'm definitely watch Rooster Cogburn probably over the next week or two. I might try to hunt that down and see if I can check it out. So.
How about you, Corey?
I like with Shieldwall 8 out of 10. Rewatching it, first half of the movie with a lot of talking and setting up, and then the business ending kind of slow pace. Kind of didn't always do it for me, but the second half, actually, when they go on the adventure looking for him, that's when it picks up, and I think that's when John Wayne really shines as Rooster, and he's to me the best part of the movie. I've never had an interest in the John Wayne movies, but I've heard great things about this one, and I think I watched the remake first, then I watched this one, and this is a better one, and it's a good movie. And that is, again, like it's not necessarily perfect. Obviously, the girl, she does a pretty good job too, and good banter and chemistry between her and Rooster most of the movie.
Right. Yeah, I would probably give it an 8.5. A lot of it is nostalgia for me because I grew up watching all these old westerns, so. Just really enjoy this one. It's one you can watch over and over again, I think. But that's True Grit.
That's always a factor for me. If I want to watch it ever again, like they could have a well-made movie. I never want to see it again. I'm not going to rate it very high. Or TV show, same thing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's usually how I rate something: is do I want to see it again, and how soon do I want to see it again? Like some movies, I can watch it and I'll be like, I'm good for another 5 years or whatever. Yeah. But other ones, like there are certain movies when they come on, like if I see them somewhere, I'll if I was channel surfing or whatever, which I don't really do much anymore. But back in the day, if I saw one, then I'd watch it. Like Jason and the Argonauts. That's definitely I'd stop what I was doing and watching it. Or Clash of the Titans, the OG one, not that piece of crap new one. Or there's just like Aliens or something. I'll stop and I'll watch it. But other ones I might see it on and be like, nah, and just keep going. So
right. Yeah, I don't mind the old one, but I just prefer I don't mind the new one. I just prefer the old one.
Yeah. The new one's good, but I think the old one's is better.
I contemplated watching the new one back to back after the first one. I just didn't have time.
Like I said before, the new one is a well-made movie. I never want to watch it again. Never. It just doesn't,
Yeah, I've only watched it once, so I may check it out sometime, but I don't know. But yeah, that was True Grit. And we'll go around and plug what we want to plug. Beard.
Let's see. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be tonight or tomorrow, but I'm probably going to show up on a stream with Admiral Teague and Jedi Bill for a live. I can't say watch party when talking about the Acolyte. A live watch along for the episode 3 of the Acolyte, and then Thursday be over with several folks here over with Roman of the Empire to sit around in our therapy circle and talk about the Acolyte.
Oh man, God, that
Scream to the
Saturday,
sky.
no,
Ah.
Sunday afternoon. I've got a stream scheduled with Stark of Iron and Snail Messiah. Continuing the Fallout theme, we're actually going to be. It's going to be more of a relaxed thing, nothing really specific. We're going to bring in some video clips and screenshots of some of our settlement builds and characters and things that we've done in our own games, and just kind of chill out, have some fun, and just enjoy that Fallout universe. So got that. And then Monday for after the weekend, I think I know what we're going to do. We haven't decided on it yet. So I'm not going to say anything yet, but it's, if you saw our previous stream yesterday, I think it's going to be kind of themed along the same sort of premise, but you have to tune in to find out.
Cool.
I'm sorry, tune in. That's a TV thing. Nobody watches TV anymore.
Tune out.
consume product. Get ready for the next product.
Yes, right.
Yes.
Or consume stream. Get ready for next stream.
Do it.
Yes. Shieldwall, what about you, man?
So I too shall be on Roman's Thursday show at 5 Pacific. We will be going over the Acolyte, and we'll see how that show goes, because I'm hearing just great things about episode 3 of that show.
Oh God, I can't wait
excited.
Yep, exactly.
I can't wait for Drinker's review.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I'm off this week anyway, so I'm gonna be watching some live streams.
There you go.
I mean, I already know what it's supposed to be from before Chris Corey said, and man, I'm never a Star Wars fan. I can tell you that's not right.
Well, we're gonna see.
Yeah.
So I'll be on that show on Thursday, and then next Tuesday, whatever we're doing here, I'm a bad guest. I should look ahead and read these things, but it's lost in my Twitter somewhere. Whatever we're doing next week. So whatever that'll be.
You're old and Robin's rubbing off on you. Don't remember everything.
All right, Matt, what about you?
Well, next week I think we have Speed, right, Jacob? And then
Correct.
Then Thursday we'll be on a self-flagellating train wreck viewing lamentation about Acolyte episode 3.
Yes.
You know, I have the episode trundling along in the background right now. I don't know if I watch it tonight, I might not be able to sleep, so I'll probably watch it tomorrow. It's like, then again, I might be able to sleep tomorrow, or I might throw up. So, you know, I've heard some atrocious things about it. But anyway, like it's worse than we possibly think it could be. Worse, you know. But what else? I have my stream on Friday with Jacob usually guests on me. So always looking for anyone else wants to pop in. It's 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Main topic will be those live streams I found with all that cool tokusatsu, which is Japanese science fiction, some other stuff. So I want to get those together.
Cool.
So I mean, it's a lot of, especially if you don't own the material, it's a cool way to watch a lot of that stuff for free. You know.
Yeah.
I promise I will finally, now that my leg injury seems to be healed, record my review of Greyhound, and get back on track with the movies, the series of TV shows I've been following, reviewing, which is Sharp and the Rachel Hornblower TV show from the 90s. The worst leg injuries in the world to get are ones where, like tendon injuries, you know, it's like I sprained something in my upper inner leg.
Oh yeah.
And like sitting, it feels like something's driving a spike in there, but it's like 50% better now, you know? Yeah. What else? Oh, I do sort of pre-recorded videos on a channel called The Questioners, which is a spin-off of the White Cloaks, but with a bunch of like Tolkien, real time type nerdy talk. Also talk a lot of interesting science and stuff like that too. We have a video up about that Tom Bombadil mauling they're going to do in Rings of Prime. You know,
Oh,
you know,
that's another one. Oh
can't.
man.
Some moron responded to in a comment said, "We don't know what we're talking about. Tom Bombadil is Baron." Like that like he told us to
Tom
go read the
Bombadil
source
is who?
material. So there are two characters called Baron and Luthien, which to Tolkien is the most important thing he ever wrote.
What?
It's a
No.
tale from the First Age. Okay, and Baron was a mortal man
Yeah.
who was granted like an extended lifetime, but only briefly. Tom Bombadil entered Ea, the universe, before even Melkor did, and he's alive in the Third Age.
Correct.
Baron only lived in the Second Age. So, a little,
Correct.
But that's the type of people that Rings of Prime get. They learn their Tolkien lore from fake trading cards.
Yep.
Which is another slap reference. I think that's it. I was at something else with Jacob. I think the week. So Speed next week. The next time I'm on Jacob's show, I think is in July for Alien. Yeah, and then Speed then Alien.
Yeah. Right.
And I think that's pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wait, one more thing. Tomorrow night at 10:00, I am the reigning chat trivia champion for wrestling. For the what is it called? Wednesday night is overbooked. Is the name of the show. It's on Joker Voices channel and Legion Talk channel. I usually come out at the end to dominate them in wrestling trivia and the contest at the end. If you want to see me kick ass in wrestling trivia, there you go.
How about you, Corey?
I don't have anything to plug. I'm just in different chats. You see me in different ones. That's about it. Tomorrow night, the channel called the GCA. They have a stream every Wednesday. They're pretty cool. I'll be in the chat over there. Different chats. You'll know where to find me. Josh's, who's streaming now. Max's, Zach's. Yeah, I get around.
Cool. Yep. Well, thanks to y'all on the panel for talking about this fun movie. Thanks to the chat for hanging, and we will see y'all next week. Have a good one, everybody.
Yep. Later, everybody.
Good night.
Laters.
If I can...